we're looking at how to answer an F6 exam standard question in 10 easy steps, and we have reached our step number 5. Our step number 5 includes us making some notes. Now, of course, this can be done as you are reading. So what you will notice is that quite a few of these steps can actually be done simultaneously. You don't necessarily need to do one after the other. So making notes is something that we would do when we are reading the question. So let's see how we would be able to do that. For instance, if you remember from the question, the pilot paper question, Peter Sheik, we had a few notes about the benefits given out to Peter. Now, I've picked up an example of the first benefit that we had, which was, I believe, note 3 on the question. We were told that Peter had a car. So in the fourth step, I read that Peter was given a diesel-powered car. There was some CO2 emission given to us, 222. There was a list price. There was some contribution by Peter. There was a cost price for the company. There was some mention about fuel paid by the company. So as I am reading all this information on the fourth step, what I can do is that I can also make some notes for myself. So I'm thinking to myself, this is a car benefit. I'll remind myself how to calculate my car benefit. Your car benefit is list price minus capital contribution. Capital contribution is the amount paid by Peter for buying the car. Hence, we call it the capital contribution, multiplied by the CO2 percentage. And if the car was not provided for throughout the year, there would be some time apportionment. So looking at this question here, I also have some fuel benefit. And again, I will just simply remind myself that for fuel benefit, I need the standard scale charge of 18,800 multiplied by the CO2 percentage calculated for the car benefit. So what I would do for myself is that I would tell myself, right, while I'm reading this question, let me quickly make some calculations. Let me calculate my CO2 percentage, for instance. In the question, I am told that the CO2 percentage is 222 grams. Now, I know that it has to be to the nearest 5. Never round up, always round down. So what I would do is round the 222 down to 220. So 220 minus 125 divided by 5 gives me 19, plus the base for diesel being 18 gives me 37. But again, at the back of my mind, I know that the maximum CO2 percentage I can have is 35%. So I've got my percentage. What I can do is I can simply plug it into the formula that I have, and there you have it. I have my car benefit. I can do exactly the same with the fuel benefit and calculate my fuel benefit. What you will notice is that by doing these little bits and pieces of notes, when it comes to finally putting pen to paper and putting your answer down, these notes will make it very easy for you, because now what you will be doing when you're answering the question is just simply summarizing these notes in what I would call a presentable manner. In the exam, what I would say to a student is that the messier your question paper, the cleaner your answer paper. So make sure you've done your notes, all your notes and your rough work on your question paper, so that when it comes to putting it down on your answer sheet, you can plan it in front of you, because you've got all your notes ready for you. Let's take a look at an example of another requirement that we might have in the exam and what kind of notes we can make. I've taken another one from the same question called Peter Sheik. If you remember from your fourth step, where we read the question, we were told that Peter was also provided with a house, a living accommodation. We had some costs thrown out to us. We had some improvement information. We were also told some annual rateable value. So when I'm reading this bit of information, I would remind myself the living accommodation benefit. I know that the living accommodation benefit includes the rateable value plus the expensive accommodation benefit, which includes your cost plus improvements up to the previous tax year, minus 75,000 multiplied by the official rate of interest, which is 4%. And if the house was not available for throughout the tax year, of course, we will be time apportioning. So looking at the information I have in front of me, I can quickly make these notes for myself and make some calculations. And what I see is that my benefit comes up to 4,284. Now fear not, as we go along with these steps, I will come back to these and show you how we will be writing them down in the exam as well. But at this stage, all I'm doing is that I'm just making some notes for myself so that when it comes to answering the question, I have these numbers or these notes ready for me to use. Right, to summarize our step 5, making some basic notes on your exam paper, on your question paper, makes it easier for you to answer because you've got your little notes that'll come in handy. As I mentioned earlier on, the messier your question paper, the neater your answer paper, because you have everything done for you already. And what you will find is that by making these notes on the question paper, you are utilizing the first 15 minutes, the reading time given to you in the exam, more effectively, because, believe it or not, in the first 15 minutes, you're actually allowed to write on your question paper. Although it's known as the reading time, you are allowed to make notes on the question paper, however not on the exam paper. So this very much utilizes your time effectively in the first 15 minutes of the reading time.